Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard. This is the 2020 Nissan Qashqai, and in this video, I'm going to use it to show you some examples of the latest high-tech features that you can expect to find these days for your affordable crossover dollar. If it's been a while since your last new vehicle and you're wondering what's new and hot right now in features and tech, you found the right video. Welcome to the world of the crossover, a machine intended to be like a car but more practical, better ground clearance, more space, a taller and more commanding seating position for that added sense of confidence. All-wheel drive too, because Canadians love that stuff. Today, the crossover is very big business, the competition is fierce, and the selection on really top-notch stuff is enormous. So our 2020 Qashqai is a good representation of a strong contender in one of the hottest market segments going. Just about every automaker in the game is here, and they're giving their crossovers everything they've got when it comes to the latest features and tech. If you're driving something that's 8 or 10 years old and a new crossover will be your next upcoming purchase, this video should give you a good idea of the sort of features and hardware that you can expect to find for your dollar. Let's start with the Driveline. The Qashqai gets a 4-cylinder engine with continuously variable transmission, or CVT, and all-wheel drive. That's a fairly standard setup these days, and the engine in this vehicle and that CVT transmission help improve smoothness and performance by working the engine as gently as possible to save fuel by keeping the revs low and steady. But also, it gives you quick upshifts and kickdowns when you stomp on it. The point is that this type of transmission just feels like a smoother and more responsive automatic from the driver's seat. The all-wheel drive on this model is fully automatic, nothing for you to do, though there is a driver's selectable locking function that signals the system to increase grip when you figure you're going to need a boost in traction, maybe for a slippery trail or the big snowplow hump in the driveway when you're late for work. Most all-wheel drive crossovers do not have this lock function, and it can come in really handy when conditions are severe. So that's a look at what makes the Qashqai go. But before you go and start driving, be sure to do my little test of any crossover you're considering to make sure that it's big enough for you and your family. First, get comfortable up front, then sit behind yourself to see how someone of your size would feel in back as a reference. Qashqai is not bad, but it is definitely not the roomiest pick in the back seat for the dollar. That may or may not be important to you, so be sure to check. It's at the wheel where you'll find the latest safety and connectivity tech at your fingertips and ready for your commands. First, smartphone connectivity. I have an Android phone, so I'll be showing you Android Auto, and after you set it up in about 10 seconds, all you'll ever need to do is plug in for easy access to key functions from your phone, like maps and music and contacts and reminders. They're just upscaled onto the screen. This is a must-have feature for many drivers, myself included, and most if not all crossovers in model year 2020 will offer both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but be sure to double check. Just remember to use a good quality cable to prevent headaches, and after a bit of getting used to it, connected types will find this a very powerful tool that's very easy to use. And safety systems. In all the many years I've been showing you the latest cars and tech, what I find most impressive today is how much of the sort of features and gadgets that were once reserved for very expensive cars with six-figure price tags have now trickled down into affordable machines like this. Not long ago, this radar-powered safety force field was the stuff of the six-figure Mercedes or Audi. Blind spot monitoring, which lights up here to warn you of a car in your blind zone and warns you harder if you signal that way anyways. It's like a secondary electronic shoulder check to go with your regular shoulder check. A lane keeping system. If I cross the lines without my signal on, Qashqai vibrates the steering wheel and makes a sound to get my attention, almost like a simulated rumble strip. It also applies slight braking to one side of the vehicle. That helps nudge it back the other way. So using a camera that constantly scans your position relative to the road markings, this system can alert you of an unintended lane departure and even help prevent one from taking place. And there's Smart Cruise or Radar Cruise that slows you down and speeds you up automatically to maintain a safe distance in traffic without driver input. You set the maximum speed and the following distance you like, and then set the cruise, and the forward radar works to keep you appropriately distanced in traffic. This will take some getting used to for some drivers. I'm a fan of the technology myself, and Qashqai's system does a good job of being smooth and predictable, which makes it feel less intrusive and more trustworthy. I can't demonstrate this feature because it's not safe, but the same radar that drives the cruise control system can also detect an elevated risk of a collision up the road. So if you close in too quickly on another vehicle, for instance, without any braking, you can be alerted to react before you otherwise would, and that can give you precious extra seconds to deal with a bad situation up the road. In fact, if you ignore the warnings, it can even self-apply the brakes when a collision becomes inevitable, reducing the impact. Best of all, this technology can see not only cars, but pedestrians too. Do not attempt to try either of those features. They are fantastic technology that you hope you'll never need to see in action. Finally, the backup camera. Qashqai's graphics aren't the best you'll find for the money, but there are some high-tech touches that are pretty nice bonuses at the price point. You get this top-down view so you can see the full surrounding of the vehicle on a single screen, which is pretty handy, and this split view function provides even more confidence. There's also moving object detection, or MOD, which is fairly rare in this segment. It monitors movement in the area you're reversing into, and if it sees any that poses an impact risk, you'll get an alert and even self-braking to prevent an accident in some cases. That's extra safety for the people and pets and things near you as you're backing up. And using radar to stretch the view a little further, rear cross-path detection lets Qashqai warn its operator if there's a vehicle approaching from further away as they back into a laneway. That's a lot of new gadgets, and some fairly complicated stuff for some if you've never used it before, so I'll finish by showing you this important tidbit. In Qashqai, the safety features are all assigned to this button that turns them on and off. What they're going for here is letting you activate a virtual safety shield of outward-looking hazard detection tech whenever you like, and that sort of makes it easy to try things out as you learn, turning the systems on and off to taste. And you can get into the on-screen menu and further customize how each safety system works, how sensitive they are, and even turn systems on and off individually to match your preferences. It makes for an easy interface and an easy learning experience. And that helps reduce stress levels as you're learning a new technology. Alright, so let's get you some driving impressions, starting with ride comfort, ride quality. I'm on the roughest possible road that I can find. I use this as a ride comfort testing exercise in a lot of the trucks and crossovers, and as I'm sure you can tell by the shaky camera, I hope it's not too bad, this is a really nasty stretch of road. It's paved, but just barely. And I'd say Qashqai is handling this pretty well. It's a little above average. I'd still say it's probably Subaru Crosstrek is my favorite on this road as far as a smaller crossover goes. I'm hearing a fair bit of the suspension through the floor, but I'm feeling a lot less of it than I'm kind of expecting, although there are a couple of areas like right there where you've got sort of a washboard effect, and there's not much with a unibody that's going to do super well on that. So if you're doing a lot of driving on rougher roads in town, I think you can expect this to be a little better than your sort of average in this segment. And one thing this does really well, and not all of the crossovers get this, but what I appreciate is that the steering is actually staying very stable and very smooth in my hand. As much abuse as the suspension is taking, there's very little of that abuse coming back to my fingertips right here at the steering wheel. It makes for a more refined drive overall. Oof. So I use this to sort of see what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing, and how the vehicle reacts to what would be pretty much a worst case scenario road. I mean, everything drives comfortably if the road's smooth. This is some real testing here. All right, steering. And fairly low on feedback. Of course, that's going to work really well on the highway, but enthusiast drivers are going to wish for a little bit more. There is that sport mode down here, all the way down here. It's 3 buttons over if you don't want to take your eyes off the road. So there we go, sport mode, and that just kind of heavies the steering up a little bit, makes the throttle a little bit sharper as well. Steering at low speed, super light. I mean, look, I can do this with my pinky finger. That's going to make parking
really, really easy. And if you're doing a lot of maneuvering around in tight quarters, you're not going to find this is giving you a whole lot of a workout. What about noise levels? Go 105 kilometers an hour. We'll see if my mic can pick up any of the background noise. I would definitely have to be raising my voice a little bit to have a conversation with someone sitting next to me at that speed. Another little test I like here, we'll do the acceleration. I've got this big on-ramp and a gigantic hill up to 100 kilometer an hour zone in front of me here, so we can kind of get a sense of what that's like. Right to the floor. And that's 100 kilometers an hour. So it's not in any particular rush to get up to speed at full throttle, but it is very smooth and actually quieter than I was expecting to. And so like the ride and the handling and the suspension and the steering, I think what we're seeing here is a powertrain that's built to do its best work when you're not in any particular rush. And finally, full braking, panic stop. So overall, in terms of the stop itself, I'd say the performance was, call it roughly average, but you can do better on something that gives you a more confidence-inspiring feel down at the pedal where it counts. Well, thank you for watching. My name is Justin Pritchard. Until next time, take care and drive safe, and we'll see you in the next video.